Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at some of these charts then, shall we? So, what I'm seeing is rejection as of pretty much this moment, as we're seeing it right now. Last night we were doing the Patreon and we were saying, look, most 4 hourlies, this isn't a good example, this is Bitcoin, but a lot of 4 hours look like a much weaker version of this, which is what we see is we've got a death cross on the exponential and simples, and now we've got a retest of that, and basically rejection from it. And most charts are now getting rejected around this 50. So we floated above it, rejected. You know, it's nothing special. Ethereum is another example of this. So again, you know, we had the death cross on the 4 hour. Actually, it took place a long time ago. But yeah, since then it's the 50 that's going to pose as a problem. We pushed up into the top of this box though. It's 2,800, and the top of that is going to be 3,100. And for Ethereum, this is where a death cross is forming on the daily right now, which means if we do push into it, I would expect that being the top, basically, well, for this current move. Look, death crosses break just like golden crosses break. You know, they're not indestructible. There's your golden cross, there's your retest, and there's your breakdown from it. You could be seeing exactly the same thing happen with any kind of breakout. But right now, that's not what we've got. So what we do see, we should respect, which is that I'm expecting to see a move into it and then a rejection from it. Death crosses often bring you back down to where you started from, maybe even a little lower. But until we see it, we can't say that, yes, it's going to break out or that it's going to break back down. But the chances are we'll see it go like this, maybe back down. If you're lucky, we'll bounce from here. If you're unlucky, you'll come down to make another low, 2,400 or something like that. So that is just one of many altcoins. There was some that were better than others last night, and again, I'm not highlighting this, taking value away from the Patreon. That's not what I'm doing at all. But for some reason, SHIB has a much better sort of setup than your average altcoin. I'm not highlighting this as something that you should buy or anything like that, but you know, it has this very nice uptrend of support, which at the moment is unbroken. If it breaks, then yeah, obviously you're in trouble. We've pushed into a daily 20 and 21 exponential, so in the middle of the range. There is a death cross there, which means that if you push into the death cross, you'll be looking for 203. And then you've got the top target here, which is the top of the formation, which is up here at 3.3. Now, when you take it to a 4 hourly, last night it was slightly better than most, as it was above the 50 exponential. Look, there's so many altcoins I can't recall every single name of them. I mean, they're all the smaller cap ones. Let me just think of some off the top of my head. What were we looking at? Oh god! All right, bonk. Come on, give me some bonk. So here's a bonk, right? 50 exponential rejection. Okay, these are just some of the things I remember. I'm not picking on these. USDT. Below the 50 exponential. So these are the sort of the majority of the altcoins look like this, right? I'm not, like I say, I'm not picking on these guys. I'm just showing it to you. So if you're below a 50 and getting rejected from it, it's already a portion of a death cross retest, similar to how the death cross was retested after the death cross itself. Bang, bang. Unlucky, basically. It's going to come back down to where it started from. It's very likely, and then some, and then some. And then you can use the 50 exponential as much as you can use the 200. Bang, down, bang, down, bang, down. There are a few that are not like that, but still, even XRP is like that. You know, Bitcoin is like that. Ethereum is like that. There was a couple that weren't like that. I think EOS was one of them. Yes, EOS is above it, coming down for a support here, meaning that, in my opinion, this is actually a futures position in the waiting here. It actually does warrant a position being taken on EOS here. Now, again, I'm not prescribing you a trade, but what I'm trying to show you is that, yeah, the market basically is all trending as one giant big machine, but throughout that machine there is some golden nuggets being spat out for short-term situations. So what I've spoken about today so far, all of this is literally the 4 hourly short-term stuff, right? Which means that I would expect that despite the rejection that we're seeing on the 50s, you will get an attempt to move up into a 200, yeah, over the next few days. That's kind of likely for some of these, the ones that are above these 50s. Like EOS, for instance. I know it's bizarre. And then that'll give you a dead cat bounce into a full portion of a death cross retest and a move of around 13%. Now, I know you're like, 13%? What the heck? I don't want 13%. I want 1,300,000,000%. Well, there's no chart that will give you that. I'm sure one will, but there is no signal or setup that presents itself in that kind of way. But what I am going to say is the same as I always say. If you focus on the total 2 and the overall projection, it's still exactly the same. Right? It's still the same. I'm expecting the total 2 to make higher highs, higher lows between now and the end of the year. The only problem is we're looking at this on a weekly, and it's going to take a bit of time. So in the short term, I would expect a dead cat bounce. In the medium term, it could break out, it could break down. That's unclear. In the longer term, it's very likely, very, very, very likely to continue to make higher highs and higher lows. I mean, hopefully that is useful. You've got the short term, the medium term, and the long term there of at least my opinion, my tiny little opinion that's just dropped onto the internet this morning before 7 o'clock. That is all there is to say. No altcoin is created equal. Some are better than the others, some are not, but they all follow behind Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are all following behind S&P, which are all following behind Forex markets. So there is no altcoin setup where you can say this is definitely going to work. It will not. It will be. It's tied into all of those other markets. The important thing is to recognize what the other markets are doing. They're fluctuating. They're sideways. They're going up. They're going down. But when you stand out, sit back, reflect. Generally speaking, this year should position itself, or it's already positioned, in a relatively healthy trading environment. I mean, things can change, but at the moment, I think they're just the engine is warming up. We're about to set off, not in an extreme way, but the engine's warming up, and you're about to start the drive to the end of the street, 20 mile an hour zone, and then maybe we'll hit the motorway by the end of the year. Right, that is it. Nothing much more to say. I know it might be boring. The market is boring. I can't spice it up any more than it is. It's not for me to. I don't control this market. I can just interpret it to a small degree. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.